How did my life go south in the worst evil way? I never believed in things I could not see or explain. My life was simple back then. Movies, scripts, my daughter, my world Regan. She was 12, sweet as sunlight. She would sing and whisper goodnights and tell me I was her best friend. That was before my home became something unholy. Unexplainable scratching sounds in the attic. I thought it was rats. Then the house began to smell something sharp, foul, like rotting flowers. Regan started waking at night, saying her bed shook. I laughed, told her it was just bad dreams. Oh, I wish I had believed her then. One Halloween evening, she walked into my party. We were all laughing, drinking, music playing softly. Regan came down the stairs, pale, eyes wide. She looked at one of my guests, an old astronaut tanned, in the coldest voice said, "You're about to die, old man." The room went silent. Seconds later, the man fainted. I remember the glass slipping from my hand, shattering on the floor. I wanted to believe it was just a child's outburst. But in my heart, I knew something terrible had begun. The days after were madness. Regan changed. Her voice. Her voice was no longer hers. Sometimes soft and mocking, sometimes deep and animal. She screamed obscenities that made my blood run cold. Her body twisted, arched, and thrashed against her bed as if invisible hands were pulling her apart. I brought in every doctor I could find. They ran test after test, stuck her with needles, strapped her to machines. Epilepsy, perhaps, or possibly a lesion in the brain, they said. But every test came back clean. She was perfectly healthy, perfectly possessed by something I could not name. I'd sit outside her room at night, hearing her whisper to empty air, and I'd think, where is my daughter? Sometimes I'd hear her laugh, not Regan's laugh, but something older, darker, cruel. And then I began to believe not in God, not yet, but in something worse. In my desperation, I found a priest, Father Damien Carras, young, kind, but lost. His faith was fading. He had just lost his mother. When I told him what was happening, I saw disbelief in his eyes, till he met Regan. When he walked into her room, the temperature dropped so fast I could see my breath. Regan looked at him and smiled. But it wasn't her smile. Then she spoke in his mother's voice. I saw the color drain from his face. That night, he came back to me shaken. "It's not mental illness," he said quietly. "It's something else." And then, that night, the night I can never forget, I walked into her room and saw her floating above her bed. Eyes rolled white, her head turning "God forgive me" all the way around. I screamed until my throat burned. The doctors could do nothing, so I begged the church for help. They sent another priest, Father MacNeil, the kind of man who had looked evil in the eye before. I'll never forget his arrival. The fog. The way he stood at the gate with his black coat and briefcase, the street lamp behind him like a halo of mist. When he entered the house, it felt as though the air itself recoiled. He nodded to me gently and went upstairs. They began the exorcism together, Marin and Carras. I stayed downstairs, trembling, clutching a crucifix even though I didn't believe. The sounds that came from that room, still hear them, growling, screaming, furniture crashing against the walls. At one point, Regan's voice became dozens of voices, men, women, children, all crying, all laughing at once. Then silence, and then laughter again. I pressed my hands to my ears, but it still found me. Hours passed. When the door finally opened, Carras stood there, pale and trembling. He said Father Marin was dead. My heart sank. And then I saw Regan sitting up, smiling with eyes that were not hers. Carras shouted something I'll never forget. "Come into me. Take me." And then she went still. His face twisted, and for a moment, I saw that same evil burning behind his eyes. But before it could consume him, he threw himself from the window. I heard the crash outside, the scream, the silence that followed. When I reached Regan's room, my little girl was lying quietly, her face soft again. I held her hand and whispered her name, and for the first time in months, she opened her eyes. She didn't remember a thing, Not the voices, not the pain, not the man who gave his life to save her. We left Georgetown after that. I can't walk past that house, can't look at those steps. Sometimes I still wake in the night and think I hear her whispering, or feel that sudden, impossible chill. But when I see her sleeping peacefully, breathing softly, I know it's over war at least. I hope it is. This is the story of The Exorcist. People ask, Miss Chris MacNeil, do you believe in God now? I always say I don't know, but I believe in something. I've seen evil. I've seen love strong enough to fight it. I've seen a man give everything his faith, his life, to save a child who wasn't his. So maybe there is something that's not only greater than all of us, but something that listens when we finally stop denying the darkness and start fighting it. Maybe that's what faith really is, not certainty, but courage in the face of the impossible. And as for my daughter, every time she smiles, every time she laughs, I thank whatever power heard me when I screamed into the dark, because I got her back. And that, after everything, feels like a miracle. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Please consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one.